Welcome to the first lesson of Gran Turismo 4, Prologue. This lesson takes place on the beginner's course in the driving park, a short circuit designed for racing practice. For this lesson, take 2 relaxed laps around the course. The engine of the car has been limited to enable a maximum speed of just 50 km per hour. The time limit is very generous, so this is your chance to take a nice slow drive without concern for the remaining time or your driving speed. What you must concentrate on, however, is staying on the track, so make sure you do, no matter how slowly you need to drive to do it. If you go off the track, you'll be disqualified. Just think of it as a Sunday drive. You'll see a line indicating the smoothest route displayed on the road surface. If you follow this line, you can get a feel for the correct racing line, a vital technique in circuit racing. While driving, take time to consider what makes that particular line the ideal one. Take careful note of the timing and severity of the corners, and learn how to take corners correctly without spinning. As a general rule, your steering should be gradual and minimal. Good luck with the lesson! Welcome to Lesson 2. In this lesson, you'll learn about the most important aspect of driving skill, steering. This lesson takes place on the Fuji International Speedway. Traffic cones are positioned on the final straight. Change from lane to lane without hitting the cones. Also, be careful of how much you turn the car. Try to get a feel for how the car moves with just a slight turn. Mastering the sensitivity of steering will become a crucial foundation for your more advanced racing skills. The car you will be using for this lesson is not high-powered, but the same basic techniques apply to all cars. Remember, make sure you steer the car slowly and gradually. Good luck in your lesson. Welcome to Lesson 3. In this lesson, you'll learn about effective braking. This is just as important a racing technique as gradual steering. With racing games, many players simply try to go as fast as possible, neglecting brake application altogether. This lesson is your chance to learn to use that often forgotten brake. So, when you start, accelerate quickly and head straight for the goal area. In the goal area, you'll see a zone indicating your stop position. Keep your eyes on this zone and brake hard and fast to bring the car to a sudden halt. On your first try, you'll probably go past the stopping area, but don't worry. On your next try, just apply the brake a bit earlier. Be careful not to brake too early or you'll stop before reaching the stopping zone. Full acceleration, followed by sudden braking, achieving the proper timing for this sequence is no easy task. To pass this lesson with flying colours, try to remember the physical surroundings when you apply the brakes. With each try, you'll gain more understanding of the point at which to brake in order to be accurate. Good luck in your lesson. Welcome to Lesson 4. This lesson takes place on the second corner of the beginner's course in the driving park. In this lesson, you'll learn that once a car is travelling at a certain speed, no amount of steering will enable you to turn a corner correctly. This is a basic aspect of car physics. When a car doesn't respond to steering on a corner, drivers often try to steer into the corner even harder. The car still fails to turn and they end up ploughing off the track, a common sight in racing games. In this lesson, you'll learn a fundamental driving concept. In order to negotiate a turn correctly, you must slow down. When you first set off and you're accelerating, the car responds well and turns as you enter the first corner. Some way through the turn, you find the car edging towards the outside, heading for trouble. No matter how much you steer, the car will simply not respond. This means your cornering speed is too high. The next time this happens and you find yourself drifting off the line, decelerate. By decelerating and lowering your speed, the car will stop its drift towards the outside of the corner and begin to regain its position on the line, and thus regaining its ability to turn. This rule applies to all of the upcoming lessons, so bear it in mind. Okay, good luck with your lesson. Welcome to Lesson 5. In this lesson, you'll be driving on the beginner's course in the driving park from Lesson 1. You must negotiate 2 bends, one large and one small. The larger corner has a 60-metre radius, the small a 30-metre radius. This lesson differs from previous tests in that there is no speed limiter on the engine of the car you'll be using. You'll need to apply the brakes before entering corners and control your speed during cornering. Try to follow the ideal line as displayed on the track. You'll notice that at the entrance to a corner, the line follows the outside. In the middle of the corner, or apex, it moves to the inside, and at the exit of the corner once again, follows the outside. This indicates the fundamental racing concept of taking a corner out, in, out. By taking this line, you can freely accelerate through the exit of the corner. As a result, you can increase speed for the next straight and improve your overall time. Practice this and bear in mind the other skills you've accumulated so far. Remember to brake properly, don't steer too hard and watch the racing line. Best of luck with your lesson. Welcome to Lesson 6. In this lesson, you'll experience driving on a dirt course. This lesson takes place on the Grand Canyon mini track, a specially created course just off the Grand Canyon rally course. There's plenty of time to finish, so don't rush it. Just take a nice slow run around the course. This lesson's designed not to get the best time, but to help you familiarise yourself with the physical properties of this rally car designed for a dirt-based course. The main difference between a dirt course and tarmac is just that the surface is more slippery. As a result, the car reacts to your controls a fraction later than normal. Also, notice that the rear tyres lose their grip when cornering. You'll also need to steer much more to get a suitable response from the car. While on a tarmac or paved road, you control the car slowly and gradually, on a dirt road, control is quick and sudden, not refined. Since this is your introductory run on a dirt road, take it slowly and cautiously. Be careful not to go off the track or run into barriers. Well then, good luck with your lesson. Nice work! You finished the green section. Now try the orange section. Welcome to Lesson 7. This lesson takes place on the Tsukuba circuit in Japan. At roughly 2 kilometers in length, Tsukuba circuit is relatively short. However, if you try for a record time, this circuit is a beast. The purpose of this lesson is not to break any records, it's to give you a good, relaxed look at the course. Again, you'll have plenty of time, so take it as slow as you like and drive cautiously. If you don't brake before corners to bring your speed down, you'll be off the track in no time, leading to disqualification. Once again, try to trace the ideal racing line displayed on the track. As you do this, consider what makes this the ideal line. Have a safe trip around this stylishly designed circuit where every corner, be it large or small, presents a unique challenge to the driver. Okay, good luck with your lesson. Welcome to Lesson 8. Hopefully you got a good idea in Lesson 7 of what the Tsukuba circuit is all about, because in this lesson you'll use a segment of that circuit. You'll practice cornering on a portion beginning with the Dunlop bridge down to the second hairpin corner. A hairpin corner is sharp and long, so controlling your speed is very important. When you near the corner, brake hard and bring your speed right down. If you go too fast, you'll deviate from the ideal line. Learn exactly when to apply the brakes in order to turn correctly and follow the racing line. The racing line is an out-in-out manoeuvre as described in previous lessons. Try to remember the term clipping point, which is the spot at which the car runs closest to the inside of the corner. Also, remember the term understeer. This is when the car fails to respond to steering correctly as a result of failing to reduce speed sufficiently. So then, best of luck with your lesson. Welcome to Lesson 9. For this lesson, you'll be driving through an old Italian town filled with beautiful scenery. you'll learn how to handle consecutive corners at high speeds. An S-bend refers to right and left-hand corners that come quickly one after another. If you were an ordinary driver on the public road, you could take these corners by simply following the turns back and forth. However, steering hard to the left and then hard to the right prevents you from maintaining your speed. So, as a racing driver, you must skim the apexes of the two corners, taking a route that is as close as possible to a straight line. That way, you can easily negotiate the corners with a minimal amount of steering, and that will increase the speed at which you can exit the corners. So, anytime you come up against S-bends, use minimal steering and try to take the straightest line possible. The straighter the line, the more you can hit the accelerator and the faster you can get through the curves. Think of it in this way: minimal steering can straighten out the most twisting of tracks. That's what you should take away from this lesson. Best of luck with this challenge. Welcome to Lesson 10. This lesson takes place on a segment of the long Grand Canyon rally course. Hopefully you got a feel for driving on a dirt course in Lesson 6. Well, keep that lesson in mind as you learn how to gain further control over the car. As you approach a corner, apply the brakes to lower your speed as if you were racing on tarmac. This time, however, the difference is in the details. The proper technique for driving on a dirt course is to tap the brake just for a moment as you steer. When you brake while steering, the rear tyres will lose grip and you'll feel the car move more towards the outside than it would with the usual amount of steering. This effect is known as a drift. Add some braking to your steering to bring the car under control. This is the most important dirt racing technique. Make sure you get a feel for it. Okay then, best of luck with the lesson. Now it's time for a coffee break. The coffee breaks are bonus stages that use the Gran Turismo driving system and are designed to give you a change in pace. You'll proceed to the next stage whether you pass or not, so there's no pressure. Cones have been arranged in a figure of 8 on the Gymkhana in the driving park. The rules are simple. Just touch all of the cones in the shortest possible time. You can start the figure of 8 at any point, so go for it. You don't have to knock over the cones, just touch them and they'll simply disappear. Enjoy your coffee break. Welcome to Lesson 11. In Lesson 3, you practice braking on the straight of the Fuji International Speedway. This lesson is another chance to polish your braking skills, but with greatly increased speed. Now you can get a feel for full braking at much higher speeds than before. For a circuit racer, braking at speeds in excess of 200 km an hour is not uncommon. These are fierce speeds, and the distance required to bring the car to a stop after hitting the brakes is longer than expected. Use this lesson to ensure you don't miss the necessary braking point. Of course, the main principle is no different from Lesson 3. The trick is to remember a physical location that signifies the point at which you hit the brakes. If you follow this advice, you'll be coming to a stop in the correct position in no time. Best of luck with the lesson. Welcome to Lesson 12. In this lesson, you'll learn how to drive through a series of corners on a different portion of Fuji International Speedway. You'll be practicing on the B corners, a section of track made up of 3 consecutive small bends. Take a look at the ideal line displayed on the track and you'll notice that one of the lines through the corners does not follow the ordinary out-in-out trajectory. This line is designed to allow for the fastest possible exit from the B corners. This will determine the speed with which you can take the upcoming final corner. and in turn the maximum speed with which you can enter the straight that follows. Racers consider the speed averaged over the entire course, not just the speed of individual corners. So in this lesson you can learn this too. Good luck! Nice work! You've finished the orange section. Next, try your hand at the blue section. Welcome to Lesson 13. This lesson takes place in central New York City. A long straight on the main street ends in a 90-degree corner. Take 2 slow laps around this course. As before, you'll be given plenty of time, so consider it a laid-back tour of the city. But don't be too complacent. Contact with the course boundaries means automatic disqualification. You'll be tempted to floor the accelerator on the long straight, but make sure you bring your speed down enough to take the upcoming 90-degree corner. Just as you learned in Lesson 11, remember the surrounding buildings and other signs that signify where you need to start braking. Also, be sure to drive up on the curb on the corners. Once you can create a mental picture of the course in your head, you'll be close to your goal. By pushing the R3 button on the right analog stick, you can, if you wish, turn off the ideal line indicator. Once you get used to it, try racing with this indicator turned off. Best of luck! Welcome to Lesson 14. This lesson takes place on a section of the New York street course where two 90-degree corners are positioned consecutively, creating a double apex hairpin corner. In this lesson, you'll practice high-speed cornering on this hairpin. For double apex corners, it's best to treat the two corners as one. The racing line emphasises corner exit speed. The trick is to ignore the first of the 90-degree corners and perfectly clip the second. This will result in the best speed possible for the upcoming straight. When you get a feel for it, try turning off the ideal line indicator. Good luck with this lesson. Welcome to Lesson 15. Once again, this challenge is set on the New York street course. This time, you'll learn how to take single 90-degree corners at high speeds. City courses are composed almost entirely of 90-degree corners, so this is your chance to learn how best to take them. The basic line is the standard out-in-out trajectory, which you've already learned about. However, in a city course, the boundaries are guardrails and other obstacles, so you'll have to take the bull by the horns to get full advantage of the breadth of the course. Things get even more tricky when you exit a turn with the accelerator floored because of the extra speed. In professional racing, it's crucial to use the entire course width to your advantage. Practice repeatedly until you can precisely follow the ideal line. Focus on taking a smooth line that goes right up against both the inside and the outside boundaries of the course. Now, best of luck with the lesson. Welcome to Lesson 16. This lesson takes place on the Fuji International Speedway, with which you should now be very familiar. This time, you'll learn how to correctly enter corner 1 after the straight. You've already learned how to handle high-speed braking in lesson 11. Well, this time around, you'll practice braking at the right point needed to clear corner 1. In the lesson with the stopping area, all you needed to do was apply the brakes. However, this time, you have to take a corner after you brake, making the timing that much more difficult. Try approaching the task in this order. First, begin by determining how low your speed needs to be to take the corner. Then, once you've determined the entrance speed, you can find the point at which you need to begin braking to reach that speed at just the right point. If you look closely, you'll notice that corner 1 is in fact two small corners. Notice that this makes for a unique racing line. Good luck! Now for the next coffee break. For this stage, 20 cones have been spread out across the gymkhana in the driving park. As before, the object is to touch all the cones as fast as possible. Firstly, just drive around any way you like. Once you've been around a few times, you'll get an idea of the position of the cones. Then you can work out the most efficient way of hitting them in the shortest possible time without having to double back on yourself. Enjoy your coffee break. Welcome to Lesson 17. This lesson is the first outing on the dirt track for some time. You'll be practicing high-speed cornering on the fast section of the Gran Canyon. You've learned that by tapping the brake as you turn, the car will begin to drift. By using the drift method, it's possible to turn the angle of the car without steering. Mastering this technique can lead to faster cornering. Begin to turn at the entrance to the curve and apply the brake. This causes the car to slip sideways and start to drift. Next, gradually accelerate and determine the amount needed to maintain the drift. If the back wheels slip too far and the car swivels beyond the intended direction, steer the car in the direction that the back wheels are sliding. This technique is called countersteering. Practice this acceleration and countersteering until you're able to control the drift at will. Best of luck with the lesson. Welcome to Lesson 18. This lesson takes place on the tricky town course in Italy. It's difficult to envisage the proper line on blind corners with low visibility, but with this lesson you can master the techniques needed to navigate such non-standard corners. When you're faced with corners that, in addition to having bad visibility, become sharper from mid-turn, it's hard to work out how to tackle them. When you enter a corner under such conditions, don't rush to take the line. Stay close to the middle of the course and get a good look at what lies ahead. The best thing to do is get back on the racing line and accelerate only after the track visibility improves. Attempting this halfway through the corner is bound to fail and won't improve your time. The trick is to wait and see how things pan out, and near the end, accelerate correctly and reposition yourself on the racing line. Take care. Welcome to Lesson 19. For this lesson, you'll be driving on the beginner's course in the driving park that you encountered in the first lesson. Of course, this time you'll be practicing something new, negotiating chicanes. Chicanes are small opposing corners positioned on the track to force you to slow down. Your job is to complete 2 laps on this course as fast as possible through the chicanes positioned in the middle of the straight. You've had plenty of practice through small and large corners, so this time you'll need to work on taking the chicanes. See how well you can trace the ideal racing line. You'll do okay if you minimise steering from the entrance through to the exit and manoeuvre with a good rhythm. If you accelerate roughly or steer too hard during the chicanes, the car will handle poorly and you won't be able to follow the line. Remember the advice of the first lesson and keep your steering to a minimum. Best of luck! Nice work! You've completed the blue section. Now you're ready for the red section. Think you can handle it? Welcome to Lesson 20. For this lesson, you'll be taking a slow drive around the Italian town course. Take 2 laps of this course without hitting the surroundings or going off the track. As before, you'll be given plenty of time, so take in the sights and enjoy the feeling of driving on paved roads. As soon as you begin, you'll notice the roads are narrow and go up and down steep hills. In the residential areas, a single car can barely fit through, so be careful not to hit the sides or you'll immediately be disqualified. Also, the steep inclines you'll encounter will affect acceleration and braking. You would do well to remember the best locations at which to begin braking. There are a number of blind corners spread about the course, and for these you must remember the landscape that comes after the exits. By this time, most drivers will have made considerable improvement in their skills, so the ideal line indicator will be turned off. If need be, you can turn it back on with the R3 button. Good luck with this lesson. Welcome to Lesson 21. The setting for this lesson is once again the New York City course. This lesson concentrates on the series of 90-degree bends in front of the Plaza Hotel. Think about how you need to drive to take these corners at the maximum speed possible. For this, a racing driver needs to consider not the line that attains maximum speed for the individual corners, but the best line for achieving the best overall speed for the entire area. The shortcut to mastery is to turn on the racing line indicator and practice until you can follow it closely. The higher the speed, the more difficult it becomes to follow the line, and once you break from the line, it takes a while to get back on track. For this reason, you need to pay careful attention to braking and acceleration. Success will be determined by how well you can stick to the single optimal line. Best of luck! Welcome to lesson 22. It's back to the complex Italian town course for this lesson. You've learned how to handle blind corners with poor visibility in lesson 18. This time you'll be practicing a hairpin corner with a steep incline. On the ascent, the brakes work well, but with the weight of the car on the front wheels lightened, the steering won't respond in the manner you're used to and it becomes harder to turn. You should plan on reducing your speed lower than usual at the entrance to the corner to attain the necessary line. The clipping point of this corner is well into the bend and can't be seen from the entrance. For the initial section, drive in the centre of the track. When you reach the apex, turn quickly to clip the curve. Wait until you can see the exit, then finally give it full acceleration. Until that point, you are recommended to take it slowly and carefully. Once you perfect the timing of when to accelerate, you'll be halfway there. Good luck with the lesson. Welcome to lesson 23. In this lesson, you'll be trying something new. You'll be accelerating a high-powered car from a standstill on the final straight of the Fuji International Speedway. In Gran Turismo, the TCS, traction control system, feature is usually operational during gameplay. TCS prevents wheel spin resulting from excessive use of the accelerator. For this lesson, however, this will be turned off and you will have to control the power of the car using your own skill. The training car is a 98 Dodge Viper, a 450 horsepower monster. Start smoothly and race the 200-meter stretch as fast as you can, as the key to getting a good time in this lesson is starting well. Ideally, you want to start with minimal wheel spin. Watch the on-screen rev counter closely in the beginning and determine the revs at which the tyres squeal when you take off. If the squealing continues as you're pulling away, then the revs are too high. No tyre squeal at all means the revs are too low. Don't forget to keep an eye on things once you're racing. If you press the accelerator too hard with a car in too low a gear, your wheels will spin. If this happens, blip the throttle to regain control. Okay, good luck with the lesson. Time for a coffee break. Once again, the coffee break takes place in the Gymkhana in the driving park, but this time there are 100 cones to hit with your car in the quickest possible time. This time you'll see a track drawn on the surface of the tarmac with white lines showing the route. These lines indicate the most efficient route since the cones follow this line. You're free to go off the course, however, and try your own route. On the hairpin corner, you can hit the cones by using the handbrake if you wish. Enjoy your coffee break. Welcome to lesson 24. In this lesson, you'll be racing on a dirt road again. You'll practice taking a series of hairpin corners on the Grand Canyon at breakneck speed. You need to master controlling the direction of your car to navigate the narrow track. In lesson 17, you learned about high-speed cornering. For this course, you'll be dropping your speed considerably to take the hairpin corners. You'll also use the braking drift technique you've already learned. That is, when you press the brake as you turn into the corner. Be careful, if you drift too aggressively, you'll spin right out of control. But if the action is too weak, the car won't turn as desired. So experiment to determine the right amount of action needed to turn the car. Best of luck in the lesson. Welcome to lesson 25. With the completion of this lesson, you'll graduate to the next level of the Gran Turismo 4 Prologue driving school. For this test, you'll be attempting a high-speed slalom, weaving through cones placed on the straight of the Fuji International Speedway. The object is to traverse this stretch as fast as possible with maximum control over your vehicle. First, weave between the cones at a relaxed pace. The trick is to use minimal steering and practically brush up against the cones. Then it's time to gradually increase your speed as you practice it a few more times. You'll notice that at higher speeds, the car is pulled to the left and right. If you continue to accelerate when this happens, you'll lose control of your car. Get a good rhythm to your steering and control the acceleration in sync with that rhythm. Once you sense you're getting close to the limit, keep the acceleration consistent and you can prevent the car from going out of control. Once you begin to instinctively feel that you're about to lose control of the car and therefore prevent it, you'll be very close to passing the lesson. Good luck! Congratulations! You've completed all the basic lessons in Gran Turismo 4 Prologue. You've become a skilled driver. Now race in the arcade mode to enjoy the tracks to your heart's content. Welcome to the Gran Turismo 4 Prologue bonus lessons. Starting with this lesson, you'll learn readily applicable skills designed to win races. For the first of these lessons, you'll practice passing an opponent on the inside of the second hairpin corner of Tsukuba Circuit. When you're driving by yourself, you can take the ideal line through the corner. However, with an opponent on the track, your line has to be at least slightly faster. How do you manage this? The answer: delay braking at the entrance to the corner and slip into your opponent's racing line. This way, he won't be able to stay on the ideal line. Take care not to make contact with your opponent's car. Play fair by making smooth passes, and timely use of the brake should bring you in line with your opponent, allowing you to pass. Best of luck with the lesson. Welcome to lesson 27. In the last lesson, you learned how to pass your opponent on the inside of the racing line, but that strategy won't work every time. Time now to learn how to pass on the outside of your opponent. This lesson takes place in the same area, the second hairpin corner of the Tsukuba Circuit. As you approach the corner, if it seems too difficult to pass your opponent on the inside, don't risk it. Align your car with your opponent on the outside and race like that to mid-corner. Then turn harder than usual. Near the end of the corner, your opponent will come back to the outside. You, on the other hand, will brush by your rival on the inside, creating a chance to pass the car on the following straight. This is, of course, the same line you learned in an earlier lesson that emphasises corner exit speed. This technique is effective when used on a corner that precedes a long straight. Best of luck in the lesson. Welcome to lesson 28. In this lesson, you'll be practicing a technique crucial for high-speed circuit racing, the slipstream pass. The location is the well-known high-speed track, the Fuji International Speedway. If you drive behind a car driving at high speed, the air resistance affecting your car is lowered and you get sucked forward as your speed increases. Using this speed boost to your advantage is what the slipstream pass is all about. In an earlier lesson, you already practiced braking techniques into corner 1. Now you'll learn to drive right behind your opponent's car, then just before you reach corner 1, slip into the inside. Try not to be either too early or too late on your grab for the inside. If you make your move too early, you won't be able to take full advantage of the other car's slipstream. If you're too late, you won't line up correctly next to your opponent. Using the slipstream is all about timing. Give it a few tries until you can get a feel for the perfect moment. Now, good luck with the lesson. Welcome to lesson 29. Finally, your chance has come to experience a real race taking place on the Tsukuba circuit. As you start, the opponent's car is 10 seconds ahead of you. You have 3 laps to overtake him. By now, you should be comfortable driving on the Tsukuba circuit. However, now you have to pass your opponent successfully, and you'll have to consider the best passing points. Ideal points include the entrance to the first corner, the 2 hairpins, and the last corner. Consider the distance between you and your opponent and the differences in your lap times to determine approximately where you will catch up with his car. It isn't easy to overtake on the Tsukuba circuit, so you should try driving a variety of lines and study the different passing possibilities. This is not a 3-lap time trial. You will pass the test only by overtaking your opponent and maintaining your lead for a duration of 10 seconds. Be very careful not to make contact or you will be disqualified instantly. Best of luck! Another coffee break. For this course, 100 cones have been lined up on the beginner course of the driving park. Touch them as fast as possible for the best trophy. The cones are aligned to the racing line. On the corners, this means they're placed in an out-in-out formation, giving you a chance to review your basic driving knowledge. If you find yourself unable to knock them all over in one go, this could be a symptom of over-enthusiastic steering or poor accelerator control. Enjoy your coffee break. Welcome to lesson 30. For this lesson, we'll move to the Fuji International Speedway and try a race. The basics are the same as on the Tsukuba circuit, except this time with more laps. You now have 5 laps to pass a rival car that's 10 seconds ahead of you at the start. The Fuji International Speedway is one of the few high-speed circuits in Japan. The overall speeds you'll be encountering are much higher, so don't get nervous if you don't seem to be catching up. Just keep your head and plan an attack. You will of course need to be considering the best passing points while you're racing. The passing points are the entrance to corner 1, the following complex corner called A, the hairpin, and corner B, which you encountered in an earlier lesson. On the final straight, you may have the opportunity of overtaking using your opponent's slipstream. In order to pass this lesson, you must overtake your opponent and retain your lead for 10 seconds. Best of luck with the lesson. Welcome to lesson 31. You've raced on the circuits, so now let's try racing in the city on the New York street course. You'll have 3 laps to overtake the rival car, which will start with a 10-second lead. This is a very different challenge to the open circuit, and with the guardrails and barriers you have limited room. Try to take the ideal racing line and put pressure on your opponent. A number of the straights are connected by 90-degree corners, so you'll have to beat your opponent by braking more efficiently at the end of one of the straights. Many people tend to avoid braking and enter the corner at too high a speed, only to collide into the barrier on the exit. Therefore, keep a cool head. Remember, the best braking points for each corner and the best spots for passing will soon become evident. If you attempt to overtake wildly, you're bound to collide with your opponent, so be sure to look for the correct exit point. After overtaking your opponent, you must maintain your lead for 10 seconds in order to pass this lesson. Good luck! Welcome to lesson 32. The rules of the race will change starting with this lesson. The location is once again Tsukuba Circuit. There will be 3 cars ahead of you. See how many you can pass in one lap, with one very strict condition. You are not allowed to make contact. Sounds difficult? Just remember all you've learned in the lesson so far and keep calm. You need to have definite plans in mind for overtaking the opponent cars. For example, which car on which bend, as potential overtaking points are limited. If you fail to overtake, you'll be hard-pressed to recover your time. Once you make the decision to overtake, you must be confident in your approach. At the same time, you need to avoid any contact with your opponents, so as you overtake, watch their movements closely. When you're going for the inside before a bend, it's important to position yourself alongside your opponent whilst braking. If you move to the inside just before the clipping point, before letting your opponent know you're there, you will make contact and be disqualified instantly. First place will give you a gold trophy, second place silver, and third place will result in a bronze. Don't worry, while this seems difficult at first, you'll soon make good progress. Best of luck. Welcome to Lesson 33. The rules for this lesson are the same as for Lesson 32. This time you're on the Fuji International Speedway again with 3 cars ahead. See how far you can work your way up in 1 lap. The same tough rule applies this time round. If you make contact, you're out. You'll be driving a racing machine rather than a training car, so the average speed is overwhelmingly faster. This is a high-speed circuit, so take full advantage of it. Be warned that there are more complex corners here than on the Tsukuba circuit. Let the other driver know you're there before you slip into the inside on a pass. If you make contact or another car makes contact with you, you'll be disqualified. Pass all 3 cars for the gold, 2 for the silver and 1 for the bronze. Give it your all right up to the checkered flag. Now, best of luck with the lesson. Welcome to Lesson 34. You've now successfully overtaken 3 cars on both the Tsukuba and Fuji International circuits. Now, for the last stage, let's try it on the streets of New York City. Again, you have only 1 lap, and making contact with your opponent's car is out of the question. If you remember, you practiced overtaking on this course in Lesson 31. Well, now there are 3 rivals instead of 1, but the basic rules are the same as ever. Keep cool and try your best. This time, since you're in a race car rather than a training car, you'll notice the significantly improved braking performance. As a result, on the corners you can wait a bit longer before you start braking. Check where the new braking points are for each of the corners. The maximum speed on the straights is determined by your exit speed from the previous corner. While cornering, it's tempting to concentrate on the braking, but your speed on the straight will make the difference between victory and failure. So make sure you achieve a high exit speed. This is the perfect time to make use of the line that emphasizes your exit speed as you've practiced several times before. As with your previous race, you'll be judged based on your ranking. First place takes a gold trophy, second place a silver, and third place a bronze. Good luck with the lesson. Welcome to lesson 35. Now that you've reached the last in the series of hands-on race lessons, let's see what you can do in a full-on race. The race will take place at the Fuji International Speedway. You'll start in last place as the 6th car with 10 laps remaining. See how many rival cars you can pass. You have 10 laps, which means you'll have plenty of passing opportunities, so take your time and knock off the cars one at a time. On the final straight, make full use of the slipstream. If you can't get a following car off your back, block it by taking a clean line. Always keep an eye in your rear view mirror. Go for the gold by making use of all the techniques you've accumulated so far. The trophies will be awarded in the usual manner, with the winner receiving the gold, second place a silver, and third place bronze. Coming in fourth place or below will fail. Best of luck with the lesson. Welcome to lesson 36. This lesson is a bit unusual. Your training car is a Toyota Prius hybrid car which you'll use to complete a time trial using the least petrol possible. Good fuel mileage and speed are often contradictory, so it's hard to achieve both. The idea will be to aim for the best balance of the two. Take one lap around Tsukuba circuit as fast as you can while maintaining the minimum mileage as shown on the on-screen indicator. The Prius utilises both a fuel engine and an electric motor. The diagram on the lower left shows the status of that hybrid system. When you use engine braking without accelerating and with weaker braking, the Prius recharges the battery from this braking force. For this energy-efficient time trial, you'll use the instantaneous mileage and consumed fuel meters shown on the lower right of the screen. If you accelerate too hard, you'll notice the mileage indicator drop like a stone. So the trick to driving in an energy-efficient manner is to go easy on the accelerator and to avoid hard braking. The mileage displayed is current as to that point, so it's okay to go below the target mileage temporarily. The idea is to choose the stretches of the course where mileage takes priority and the spots where there's a need for speed. Best of luck in this lesson. The last coffee break. This stage now wraps up the challenge level with extremely narrow turns and demands skilled use of brake and accelerator coupled with awareness of the width of your vehicle. This time the challenge is reaching the goal area without touching any of the cones. If you do, you'll be disqualified instantly. During the challenge, you'll encounter a series of tight 90-degree turns and a section where you'll have to reverse your car. To assist you in this, make use of the R1 button to change to an external view, and then use the L1 button to change to the rear view. Enjoy your coffee break. Welcome to lesson 37. Well, now you've come to the last section of the bonus lessons, offering the ultimate challenge. Starting with this lesson, you'll be racing all-out time trials on all of the tracks you've trained on so far. You have only one lap, so use your full repertoire of techniques to negotiate the course as fast as you can. The first track is the race circuit at Tsukuba in Japan. Take as many practice runs as you need to explore the intricacies of this famous track, now representing a standard for measuring car performance. When you minimise your braking to improve the time on this circuit, you'll notice that a line that enters the corner towards the inside is better on many of the corners than the standard in-out-in line. Now, best of luck with the lesson. Welcome to lesson 38. The second of the time trials takes place on the Fuji International Speedway. Fuji International is 4.4 kilometres long with a 1.5 kilometre final stretch. The average speed on the track is extremely high, and the success of your time trial will depend on your ability to take advantage of that potential. Fuji also has its share of ascents and descents, so be careful of braking adjustments as the track declines. One of the nuances of Fuji International is that it's difficult to determine the correct braking points for the corners. Mastering this will only come with considerable practice. Your exit speed from corner B will greatly affect your overall time, as this exit will determine the speed on the next straight. Well then, good luck with this lesson. Welcome to lesson 39. For this lesson, you'll go for the fastest possible lap on a tough track, the New York City course. This time you'll be taking the time trial alone, so you can go for the best line on every corner. Aim for smooth control of your car in order to closely follow the ideal racing line. To achieve a fast time, you should remember the braking points, use the full width of the course, and follow a line that slices through the complex corners. Take care. Best of luck. Welcome to lesson 40. This lesson is a time trial on a dirt surface track. You'll be going solo on the Grand Canyon rally course, so give it all you've got. It's been some time since you experienced driving on this surface, so be sure to recall the differences in the handling of the car compared to the tarmac equivalent. You've encountered portions of the course in earlier lessons, but this is the first time you've made a full circuit. There are many different types of corners, and the course is very long, with constantly undulating terrain. Just remembering the course is a difficult task in itself. So practice continuously until the movement of the car feels like an extension of your body. Best of luck with this challenge. Well done, you've now reached the final lesson. This is the last bonus race in Gran Turismo 4 Prologue. Appropriately enough, this is a serious challenge, a time trial on the Italian town course using the classic Lancia Delta HF Integrale rally car. You'll have to use your best techniques to overcome all the challenges on this track, including narrow-walled streets, steep hills and blind 90-degree bends. Choosing when to go for all-out high speed and when to sacrifice speed for technique are the most fascinating strategic aspects of this course. Experience the thrill of rallying in a European setting and enjoy this, your last lesson. And as always, best of luck. Nice work! You've finally completed the purple section of the board. This marks the completion of the bonus lessons. Thank you for playing to the end. We hope this gives you a glimpse of what to look forward to in Gran Turismo 4.